I read apostolic literature, I read prophetic literature, I read pastoral literature, I read teaching literature, I read evangelistic literature. I never just cater to my call. I don't do that. If I do that, let's say I only want to read the teacher, or if I only want to read the scholar, if I only want to read the Greek teacher, then that'll develop that area of my life, but it'll leave me very vulnerable in other areas of my life. And this is worth your drive. I'm telling you, this is worth braving the weather to hear this. You have to be able to know the voice of the apostolic and listen to it. You have to know the voice of the prophetic to be able to listen to it. You have to know the voice of the evangelist and the voice of the pastor, because we need all of those voices in our lives. Therefore, when I ask an evangelist or I ask a preacher or somebody to come to our church, I never ask somebody like me to come here. I always try to bring somebody here that's not like me, so you can get exposed to the other ministry giftings. Why? Because you will never become a fully mature man without all five of the body ministry. And it says here that we've been given the fivefold, or we've been called unto a perfect man into the measure 30, 60, 100. Into the measure of the stature. Look at the word stature. I mean, not everybody knows what the word stature means. This means, that word literally means the end or the finish of the fullness of Christ. So God gives us fivefold ministry to move us into the finish, to move us into the end. I can't move into the end or to the finished life without understanding the role of the fivefold ministry. So
if you really were looking for it, get all of the ministries by reading the Bible, because there's prophecy in the Bible, there's evangelistic in the Bible, there's everything in the Word of God. If you cannot go to these other places, that don't mean you cannot have the full measure of things of the Lord.
I think there's a point there. Yeah, I do. I think there is, because I don't know that everybody has access. And I definitely believe the Bible speaks in all five dimensions. I absolutely believe that. I think it's a very good point. Now, in context, Ephesians 4 is dealing with those that are called to go out. So I think if we can, I think the optimum is to expose yourself. And I think Christian television does this to a degree. There are apostolic people. You don't always know who they are. There are prophetic people. It's like Kim Clement. When I watch him, I can't tell you that I'm always overwhelmed by watching him, because sometimes I'm distracted by watching him. But that doesn't mean he's not a tremendous prophet of God. I kind of like it. I kind of like the singing and playing while he's prophesying. That kind of caters to my gifting. But sometimes I get caught up to listen to that bass player do what he's doing. Well, what'd he say? You know? And so if y'all know who Kim Clement is, you understand what I'm talking about. Other prophecy people sometimes are weird to me. And so I have to really deal with the fact that weirdness kind of turns me off some. And so I've got to be careful not to let that happen. Because just because some folk are not just like us don't mean we can't receive what they have to bring. And I really have to be careful with that with the evangelist. And I have to really be careful with that with the pastor. But I believe, and that's why I listen to Charles Stanley, because I believe he's a great pastor. And I listen to Charles Stanley because I think he's got a pastoral message that I need in my life. And so anyway, I'm not telling you how to do it. I just encourage